6. We were fortunate enough to go to a press screening to see Scream 6. Luckily, the theater was filled with quite a few Scream fans because we did get a interactive audience that was definitely cheering for some of the moments, and there are plenty of moments to cheer for.
When they announced that they were kind of moving the location of the Scream to the Big Apple, it had me a little wary because, I feel like New York as itself is just one big character. I was hoping that it wouldn't overshadow what they were trying to do for Scream. And they nailed it, though. I think that New York was a great choice for them to use for Scream.
It definitely does take advantage of the setting, being in New York, going from Woodsboro, we've been in LA, now going into the Big Apple, and I loved the new setting. Halloween, though, if you saw the trailers, you know Halloween does kind of take place around the same time. That really doesn't have as much of an impact as I was hoping for. Now, granted, if you saw the trailer, you know costumes are in effect, but you kind of lose track of where you are in the holiday. Is it Halloween yet? I don't know. Like you would think that they would have been like, oh, it's Halloween and now things are going down. No, it's very much in the background of the background for the story. But the main costume that we all care about is Ghostface. And with this movie, I think we have some of the best Ghostface moments since the original movie.
So the opening sequence, I feel like in a Scream movie, they have to nail it in order for me to kind of get into the tone of the movie. And then there are some times where it's kind of like, okay, I get where you were trying to go with that, but it didn't really hit me until later on. I think that they nailed it out of the park with this one, with what they did with that beginning sequence, and it's great.
The opening sequence is my second favorite sequence as well now in the Scream series. It's unique, it's clever, and it's a breath of fresh air in regards to kicking off a Scream story.
The story and Scream as a whole prides itself on the story that they're trying to tell, especially when they're trying to be very meta with it. And I think that this movie does an excellent job of doing that, as being a sequel to the one that came before it.
They do a great job at giving us a sequel to the movie that came before it, Scream 5, but also paying homage to some of the other Scream films in the series. The characters are fantastic. I love the new group that we have acquired in Scream 5, and I love the addition of those coming around us that are brand new, as well as returning character Kirby from Scream 4. If you saw the trailer, you know she's back. And I thought they did a great job at easing her back into the story, back into the mix, showing that connection to the previous Ghostface, as well as bringing her own take to what is going on in this movie and how she can help and how her character can help these survivors survive once again.
You take a risk when you have a franchise like this and you have beloved characters like Sydney, like Gail, like Dewey, and then you bring in these new characters that are kind of going to be more in the forefront, whereas you have your legacy characters in the background. And it's like, okay, how are you going to make me invested in these characters? How am I going to feel like I do for those other legacy characters? And I think they did a very good job in this one where you wanted to see these characters succeed in what they're trying to do in the story, and you didn't want to see them go out at all. And that's what I really like, is that because it can make or break your story. And I think the actors did a wonderful job at creating these characters and just the relationship that they have with each other, to the point where you're like, okay, yeah, I am rooting for you and I want to see more of you. I want to see this go forward further.
And you feel the tension and you feel the stress. I was stressed while watching this movie,
Yeah.
which means you want your characters to make it through. So I definitely felt more stress for these characters in this movie than I did where they were established in Scream 5.
Yeah.
And it did make me care more about them, not just the physical characters themselves, but the story that they set up in Scream 5, carrying that legacy over. We know a lot about Sam Carpenter from the last movie. We get, I feel like, even more when it comes to the sisterhood, the relationship that is Sam and Tara. So I love that they're building on it for, like I said, a sequel to the past film, but at the same time, adding in a mixture of the legacy that is Scream.
And aside from Sam and Tara as characters, you have Chad and Mindy who were on in the fifth one, but I feel like they really stand out in this movie very very well, and I really really like it. And it's like they are the group, and I love it.
It's yeah, it really does come down to those survivors of the last, murderous rampage that Ghostface went on. And I
Yeah.
love when you do get that bond. We got that bond from the first movie to the second movie to the third movie when it came to Sid, Dewey, and of course Gale. And I feel like we've solidified that bond when it comes to the survivors of Scream 5. And this story is definitely much more brutal, I feel like, than the past entries. It's pretty intricate with the story. I do feel like it could be hit or miss when it comes to the reveal. For me, it worked very well. And I loved it because they do what Scream does and they take what has been done before and they make it a little bit better in terms of a reveal.
Right, they elevate that story a little bit more to the point where it's like maybe you've kind of seen it before, but it's like, okay, how can we make it better in a way? And I thought that they did that very well. Well, one thing that disappointed me though is the music. Marco Beltrami's score for Scream is very iconic with the music and stuff, and we just didn't get that in this one, which made me kind of sad.
Now the soundtrack was good, but again, it's the scoring that it's missing those horns, man. Those horns are when it comes to Ghostface and the attacks that I am missing in the Scream series, but everything else is so badass that I actually gave it a pass. I do think some of the dialogue does get cheesy at times, but for some reason it worked well for me.
Yeah, I feel like it's there.
Right.
But you're like, you know what? I'm having a good time. I don't really care that this, because it kind of I brush it off a little bit.
Yeah, it ain't Shakespeare. It's
right.
It's just Scream, and I feel like it's
very laughable.
It feels like everyone is having such a good time to the point where you end up having a good time as well. And one of the things we did mention on Twitter right after we saw the movie, definitely stay after the credits. There is a little something, a little bit of fun to be had. It's nothing crazy, nothing intricate, over the top, or substantial. Just something fun that hasn't been done in a Scream movie yet.
Right, and it bodes very well to be a part of it, where it makes sense that they did that.
It works well. Yeah, definitely. So Scream 6, guys, we know you're excited about it. We're excited to see it again. We love when we see a movie and we just want to get back into the theater to watch it all over again, because then you get to watch it with the knowledge that you have, coming out of it the first time.
And get a different perspective on the story.
It's a whodunit. Scream has always been a whodunit, so we definitely highly recommend it. Even if you weren't a fan of Scream 5, I do feel like you might enjoy this one a little bit more, because for me, I didn't love Scream 5 as much as I wanted to. I did really like it though, but this one elevated it to the point where I want to go back and watch Scream 5 and watch this one again right after. Like, they're a dynamic duo now, I feel, like, when it comes to this story of the Carpenter sisters.
I completely agree. I think that Scream 5 was great for coming back and wanting to do something a little bit new, but also different but still same. And this is the same thing. It kind of different but still same, elevated in perfect Scream fashion.
I love the Ghostface mannerisms in this one, the Ghostface moments. I was cheering in my seat silently, but still go, oh, no, when certain things happen. So pay close attention to the work and the effort that they put into Ghostface in this one, and the sound design for certain moments.
Yeah, I will say that Ghostface is probably my favorite horror icon.
It is. The Scream is my favorite slasher flick.
To be fair, okay, so it was Freddy, and I feel like after this movie, Ghostface has kind of taken that spot away from Freddy.
This movie knocked Freddy off of your number one spot.
Yeah.
But guys, which is your favorite Scream movie? besides the first one, because I feel like the first one's going to be so many answers.
Yeah, nobody can top the first one.
Sure. So since we mentioned multiple times that this is our second favorite Scream movie, what's your second favorite Scream movie? If the first one happens to be the first one, tell us down in the comment section below. You can also like and subscribe.
And do the thing on our Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Discord.
All the social networking gin joints, you know where they are. Kick into the party, fuel the party, keep the party going. On our Patreon, check out the reactions we're doing currently for The Last of Us. Incredible series. It's a hell of a time. And that's available now. But thank you so much. And as always,
now it's time to say goodbye.
This party is over.
Bye.
Bye.